Key regional political parties have made significant announcements this week that would go a long way towards more representation of women in politics. Now, while the Biju Janata Dal will give 1/3 of its tickets for the Lok Sabha elections to women candidates, the Trinamool Congress is fielding 41% women candidates in the upcoming elections. Both Naveen Patnaik and Mamata Banerjee, chiefs of these two parties, are strong regional leaders, popular chief ministers, and both have sent out a message through this move. Naveen Patnaik, in fact, has urged national parties to follow. So how will this move make a difference? Will parties who promise to push the long-pending women's reservation bill actually walk the talk? To speak on this, I'm joined today by Pratyusha Singh, who's a Biju Janata Dal Member of Parliament from Kandhamal in Odisha. She's joining us from Bhubaneswar. I'm also speaking with former CEO of Oxfam India, Nisha Agrawal, and women's rights lawyer Flavia Agnes. Both Nisha and Flavia are part of Shakti, a collective that is pushing for 33% reservation of women in Parliament. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for speaking with us today on Primetime Debate. Ms. Singh, I want to start by asking you what has prompted the move from the Biju Janata Dal, and how will the party ensure that there is true representation in these 33% seats or tickets which are being reserved for women candidates, and it will not just go to those who are related to powerful male politicians?
Actually, our party, Biju Janata Dal, 50% in Panchayat election, he had already taken initiative. And now our Honorable CM, he has made this historic movement, and he has promised 33% of women reservation in Parliament.
Yes, I'm aware. My question to you, Ms. Singh, is how will your party ensure that these 33% tickets don't just go to women candidates who are related to powerful male politicians? Because that's the argument against this reservation usually, isn't it? That the women who get the tickets are either wives or daughters or daughter-in-laws of powerful male politicians.
Our Honorable CM, he's given us chance in any level, from Panchayat Raj to Assembly, and even now in Parliament. He's given chance to all us women, and he believes in empowerment of women. And personally, for me, as Member of Parliament from Biju Janata Dal, I'm grateful to Honorable CM because this is the biggest historical step, and I'm motivated, and it has actually inspired me to work even better for the society.
Okay, I'm going to hope for more candid answers coming from you ahead in the show, Ms. Pratyusha Singh, but let me come to my other two panelists. Nisha Agrawal, the question which I asked Pratyusha Singh, and I started right off the bat with that, because whenever there is a debate on women's reservation and the women's reservation bill, it's been hanging fire for decades. The counter is always this: how will you ensure that the women who make it to Parliament are not just representatives of their powerful male family members? How will you make sure it's more than just wives and daughters and sisters and daughter-in-laws who make it as MP?
Of course, it should be as broad a selection of women as possible, but that same question of dynastic politics you should be asking of men as well. We don't say why our nephews and sons and brothers are given tickets. So what we are arguing for, any women. We are 50% of the population. We don't have a voice in how this country is run. Whether we are wives or daughters or mothers of somebody is irrelevant at this point. We just need to get more women in there, whoever they are. The same argument is used, on the company board, where only one woman has been appointed, and even there they don't put that, and then they say it'll be wives and daughters. Well, the sons and nephews and everybody else is there, so let it be. Maybe the first generation has to be that, and then the next gen, it'll encourage more women to come forward, and we'll see a greater diversity in the future. That can't be the reason to not allow women to come forward.
Ms. Flavia, Agnes, what do you make of the announcement from these two political parties? They're very strong regional parties. Their chief ministers are, long-serving chief ministers. And do you think that the call that the Biju Janata Dal has made, or Naveen Patnaik has made to other parties, will be followed as we're waiting for candidates to be announced for the upcoming elections?
I sincerely hope so. I think it is a very positive move, and this has been a long-awaited move. While we are still waiting for 33% reservation of women in Parliament and having reserved seats for women, this is the right way to go, that each party selects or reserves seats within their own party quota for women. And I think it's very, very important, and it's sending out a right message. You don't have to have a constitutional amendment, you don't have to get a mandate from all the states, and you do not have the opportunity for other parties who don't agree with it to defeat the motion. So this is, each party decides if they really are committed to having more women in Parliament, giving women a chance to contest elections. But most parties do not do so. These two parties have done, and I'm very happy about it, but will other parties take the lead? And unless Congress and BJP takes the lead and takes the cue from it, it will not have impact in the long run the number of women who will reach the Parliament after the elections. And this is my worry, that two parties announcing it is very good, but unless this particular move is followed, endorsed and followed by all other parties, and at least the major parties, we will not see any change. That is the most issue that concerns us most, because BJP blames the Congress and the Congress blames the BJP, but none of them are ready to follow this at their own level, and this is causing a lot of disturbance for women all over the country. Okay, so then the next logical question is, what difference do you think it will make? Tell us more about this movement which both Flavia and Nisha Agrawal are part of, Ms. Agnes and Nisha Agrawal. Ms. Nisha, what difference do you think it will make when we say that we want more women in Parliament, more women as politicians to represent the needs of women? Politicians have to think about 50% of the population, whether they're male or female. What real difference do you believe it will make if there are more women MPs? And of course, the first step to that is more women candidates going into the election.
I think if you look at India on any indicator of gender, we are lagging way behind countries in the region or even countries in the world. We're usually in the bottom 10 or 15%. And the reason is because women have never held political power. So if you look at property rights, we own 10% of the property of this country. If you look at domestic violence, 30% of women or more are subject to violence at home. If you see, Reuters survey, where India is the #1 most dangerous place in the world for women. You look at any other issue with how childcare issues are addressed, how women's reproductive right issues are addressed, how all of these are never addressed because the people who are actually making laws and policies and programs are all men. You take agriculture. Women are actually the farmers, but the land is not in their name. They can't access credit, they can't access extension, they can't access anything in this country. So until we have a voice, and you need to have a critical mass. People will say, oh yeah, but there are a few women in Parliament, they don't do anything. It doesn't work like that. You need to have at least 25 to 33%, ideally 50%, and then you will begin to see a country that is much more caring about its women, and rather than treating us as second-class citizens. The child sex ratio captures it all, that we kill girl babies in this country before they're born because we value women so little as human beings. So we have no rights actually as citizens. And that will change when we are in power and we make policies and programs that are friendly for us and empowering to us.
Ms. Pratyusha Singh, can you share for us the struggles and the difficulties that a female politician faces? महिला नेताओं को क्या दिक्कतें आती हैं? क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं कि किस तरह का एक्सपीरियंस रहता है?
I'm lucky that I belong to the state of Odisha, where a lot of respect is given to women. So my political journey in Odisha, I got enough respect from all the people, and I was in fact encouraged to work even hard and here we are addressed as Ma. So that itself, it proves that we are all the time working hard for them, and it's our responsibility towards the society even to work harder.
Yes, but Pratyusha ma'am, if you don't mind, and I'm not trying to be personal, but about you, you were known in your constituency as Rani Ma Nayagar. Your husband was the Member of Parliament from Kandhamal. You, of course, won the by-election after that. And I'm not holding that against you. One would look at you as a successful MP and say that, hey, there was a lot of support there. What about women who have no such background, not the resources or any kind of political backing? Ms. Singh, that question's for you.
And that's my comfort zone. And I was there in Kandhamal, the most district of Odisha, where we have today, I can proudly say, I've covered 95% of Kandhamal. No local leaders had ever dared to enter. So if a lady is given a power, they can go to any extent and they can work hard. This is what I have to say.
No, absolutely. And again, I must say, I'm not taking away from any effort you've made. I was just trying to point out, and let me bring Flavia, Agnes here. I was just trying to point out that the difficulties that, completely fresh candidates face. And if you take a look, there are of course only 11% female MPs who were selected, 11.8 in 2014. The number is just around 12% even now after by-polls. How many of them are women who've had zero political background? Do you think that the entry barrier is just that much higher for women in politics?
Absolutely. And unless you have a godfather in the movement or in the party, you will not progress. It's extremely difficult for women to make their point and enter into the political domain. And this kind of gender discrimination happens in all professions, everywhere, even today. Yeah, our office, we run a legal chamber, which is with all women lawyers. And just for the last meeting, all the women lawyers were saying what they are subjected to when they go to court. Whether it is a district court, whether it's a magistrate court, whether it's a family court, they are subjected to so much humiliation, they are subjected to so much discrimination, and even the judge sits neutral and does not pay any attention. In a situation like this, when you have only 10% of women parliamentarians, out of which maybe 8% are related to male leaders and who have certain protective mantle on their head, and the other 3% then becomes the most vulnerable lot. And we so often hear comments made by male politicians about women which are gender discriminatory, which are extremely humiliating them on the ground that they are women. Men do not pass such comments to other men. They only pass such comments about women. We have heard these comments being said about Mayawati. Mayawati was threatened with rape, for instance. We have heard this comments being said even about Sonia Gandhi, about other male political leaders who are so influential and who are so powerful. So supposing there is a woman who is not powerful and belonging to a party that is not powerful, what will be her fate in parliament? So I agree with Nisha completely that we need a critical mass in parliament. Unless there is a critical mass of one woman here or one woman, they cannot make a difference, cannot change the discourse that goes on within parliament. And we hope that if there are like 30%, 40%, 50% women, I think the parliamentary discourse will be a little more civilized. The way the debates are carried on today in a totally uncivilized manner, using such vulgar and abusive language, and we hope that with women's entry there, at least we will have much more cleaner politics and much more civilized way of even disagreeing with each other. And this, I think, will be a major difference. And secondly is what other issues concerning women, whether women politicians will take up these issues, whether they will have adequate laws to protect women. We have, our violence rate is very high. We come into the global scale at the bottom, as Nisha has already pointed out. We have every possible kind of violence against women that's happening. 60 years, 70 years of policies and programs and laws have not changed the situation. So we need some very dynamic changes to happen in the coming parliament, and I hope that there will be much more women parliamentarians over there who are not feminist, but at least are concerned for women.
Ms. Pratyusha Singh, do you also hope that other parties follow the lead that the Biju Janata Dal and Trinamool Congress have taken? And again, let me come back to my basic question. Even for someone like you who has some political backing, is it difficult being a woman, a politician, not just within the Biju Janata Dal, but in Parliament as well?
In Parliament, my personal experiences, we've been treated equally, and I participated in any matters actively. And I was happy to say this also. Honorable Speaker, she had personally nominated me to represent India in Geneva in Interparliamentarian Union as well. So we are getting enough, whatever motivation, what we can get from Parliament. And our Honorable CM, we had demanded last Parliament session, we had demanded that we should have 33% women reservation in all the parties, and we have met all the precedents of political parties regarding this as well.
Okay. Nisha Agrawal, let's just round up by saying that how you see this moving forward. And the fact is that there have been big strides made. We had once again, not for the first time, but we once again had a woman speaker in the Lok Sabha, woman finance, woman foreign minister, woman defense minister. So there is representation of women. Do you think that's enough, or there is much more to do in terms of meaningful representation where women are also key decision makers?
Yeah, as I said, things will not change till there's a critical mass. And I have to say, this news coming from Orissa and from West Bengal is the most exciting and energizing bit of the election so far. And frankly, there's nothing stopping either the BJP or the Congress party from following in the footsteps of what the regional parties are showing is possible. Today, for example, Rahul Gandhi in a college in Chennai to 3,000 women said if they come to power, they will make sure that it's not just in Parliament, but 1/3 of the government positions will also be for women. They have just won elections in 3 states. Why don't they start doing some of these things? You know, parties are promising a lot of things in their manifesto. BJP had the reservation bill. They've been in power for 5 years. They could have passed it very easily. I mean, they hide. There's a lot of lip service with no real intention to actually follow through. There's nothing stopping any of the parties now to give tickets the way that these two parties have shown with their leadership. So yes, there's a long way to go, you know, but these two parties have set a very high bar, and now everybody can actually say to all the other parties that they have to follow what has been done. And we need to, you know, actually 33% we've been lobbying for a long time. It didn't seem attainable, but it should be 50%. We have 50% of the population. We need to have 50% reservation. I don't know why 33% was, you know, because we just thought it was unattainable. But these parties have shown that it is attainable, and it's very exciting. It's energized everybody. And we need to do it in government. We need to do it in police. We need to do it in judiciary. We need to do it in the parliament, in all, and corporate boards. Our corporate sector is also really lagging behind. It's the worst in the, one of the worst in the world. All of India needs to put women in decision making and with some power and authority, so that we can actually start to transform the country and not treat women as second-class citizens.
Absolutely, a big move there from two major political parties, two strong chief ministers. It's an open challenge to these mainstream national parties that have made this promise. But they now need to walk the talk. Rahul Gandhi was quoted saying today that I think women are generally smarter than men. We wholeheartedly agree. But then let's see that in practice and in ticket distribution as well. Thank you so much, Pratyusha Singh, Flavia, Agnes, and of course Nisha Agrawal for joining us today.